Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Soul Vibes. It is Celinelizette here, and if you are new, welcome to the Soul family. Please subscribe and support my channel, and if you guys like this video, you know what to do. Give it a like, comment, whatever. Anyways, so I am talking about something that I am super excited about. I actually have some lit right now, but this topic is going to be on intention candles / candle magic. So honestly, candles are totally my thing. I talked about them as being a part of like my spiritual and self-love like ritual, and it's honestly something that I've incorporated so much now, like throughout the past, I want to say the past year. And I started using them for the first time last year, but like now I find it much more powerful for me. I meditate more on it, and I'll talk about like how I use them throughout this video. But yeah, the whole reason why I wanted to do this video is because I just want to shed some light on how powerful like candles can be and how they can aid us and pretty much just be tools in using these as tools to help us manifest what our desires are. And not to say that these are, can't be used in the wrong way, because I think a lot of people don't realize that they shouldn't be using like magic in general, or it's like the typical view that people have of magic is like, okay, you're forcing things, like doing spells and stuff like that. And I am not a fan of like spell work or in any way trying, even when it comes to manifestations, like you can be possibly doing the same thing as what you do with spells, which is trying to force outcomes, or like, just thinking of typical like movies and stuff, trying to make someone fall in love with you, or trying to play God in any way, or trying to definitely not cause harm to people. But that's another thing I think people can use, like, or some ways that people use magic and stuff to pretty much just bring negative outcomes, and I'm totally against that. That is not soul vibes at all. So if you are one of those people, please get off my channel. Yeah, really though, I think that is completely irresponsible, and honestly, you will get bad karma. You will get back what you are putting in the universe, pretty much. So these are only to be used for positive reasons, and to bring what is meant for you to come to you. Yeah, so just remember, with great power comes great responsibility. So keep that in mind as we move forward. Okay, so first I'll start with, when I started using intention candles, how I first got introduced to them, and then from there I'll go into some of my like crazier experiences. Well, I've only had one crazy experience that was actually my own intention candle. Like, it went crazy. I have footage, so I'll put that in the video. And then I also saw somebody else's candle, which I'll go into that story as well. That was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. So that's how I know, like, magic, I guess, or this stuff is real. And I'm, like I said, totally against spell work, but I think that one had to do with warding off someone's spell work, which is why I'm like, you're just opening a door if you are choosing to do that stuff. Hence why I don't do anything more than intention candles and like just manifesting what is already meant to be mine. So anyways, how I started with intention candles, actually I got introduced to them well, I've gone to multiple botanicas, and so I'll back up. So I was born and raised Catholic, but I've always been into magic ever since I was younger. I'm actually a Pisces moon, and Pisces are all about like spirituality and magical things, mystical, metaphysical, that whole realm. And so I find that to be really true about myself. Like, ever since I was little, always loved the idea of magic and all that stuff. But being in Catholic school, it was very like just looked at as a negative thing, magic, totally bad, all that stuff. And I can see why. I don't think, like Catholics are a bit extreme, and like I think a lot of religious entities are extreme. But the point is, yeah, so I didn't really, get too involved with that. But then I think it was in high school, me and my best friend, we went to a psychic for the first time. And I've been to a lot of different psychics. I actually want to do I'll do a video on my psychic experiences, but I can see, why there's good ones, there's bad ones. I've had some pretty interesting psychic experiences, but the first psychic that we went to was at one of these botanicas, and so they had different like statues, and again, a lot of those psychics do suggest that you do some sort of cleansing and things like that, and that's when things get kind of shady, because I'm just like, okay, like I don't think you need to resort to that, or I don't like when they tell you really negative things. Like, that's why I think a lot of psychics, they can be just telling you these things so you can spend money, although there are some that I do really, really trust. There's about 2 that I like genuinely, like I know they are gifted and people do have certain gifts, which is why I'm not totally against going to them, but I don't think you should resort to them in any way. Anyways, so that's just my little side spiel on psychics. The first time that I ever went to a psychic was at one of these botanicas. And so that's the first time I ever seen like candles and stuff, but I never was actually inclined to using them. Like I was much less developed in my spiritual journey. I kind of was just like, oh, magic, you know, like same thing. I've used the Ouija board before when I was younger, actually before high school, and like I will never use that again. I'll do a video on that too, but that shit works. Like it was so scary. But yeah, again, it was just more like innocent, and I was just ignorant at the time. So now I understand the power of like doing these type of things and being open to the spiritual realm. Like it is no joke. It's nothing to be played with, you know? So first time I actually bought intention candles was last year, actually at House of Intuition. That's where I buy most of my intention candles, although you can buy candles from anywhere, and really like any colored candle. If you look up the different colors, like there are different, you know, candles for different intentions and stuff. But the reason that I like House of Intuition is because they make their candles even more powerful to start with. So if you don't set any intentions and you just grab one of theirs that's already like, it literally has a label with an intention on it. The current ones that I have is obstacle remover, rebirth, and money, but they help all types. And the thing that I like about theirs is that, like I said, they are more powerful to start because they dress the candles in different herbs, has a list on each candle, and like they put crystals in them as well. So they are a little bit more expensive than your average candle that's not dressed. I've used both, and like I said, they all are powerful. It's just with an undressed one, you have to put more thought and more of your own like power and intention behind it and meditate more on it, and like it requires more energy on your behalf. But the crazy story that I'm going to tell you guys with the footage, that was actually an undressed candle, which is actually one of the reasons why I went so crazy, from what I found out, but I'll leave that till that part of the video. So anyways, they both any type works. It really, again, goes back to your own energy that you're putting into it. And this candle is just a tool that, you know, helps you out, like I said. So anyways, so I got it, so I found House of Intuition by first finding a psychic that I actually really, really like. Like he's one of my main trusted ones. He's a little pricey, but again, I only go to him like, honestly, I probably go to a psychic like once a year, and that's usually only if I try not to, because I don't feel like, you know, I feel like you are the one, you should be listening to your own intuition and things like that. And from what I found out, you know, it's just good to get some insight. But I was doing it before I quit my job, and what they told me helped me a little bit, but it's not like I was like, oh, this is gonna happen, so therefore I can quit my job. It was more like just, again, insight, a little bit of advice, but ultimately my decision was made from, you know, if you watch my past videos on quitting my job, I planned that out, and you know, I'm super happy with my decision. But anyways, so my point is, just as some insight, I went to a psychic. He worked at House of Intuition, and that's how I found out about House of Intuition. I went there and I just like fell in love with the store. Honestly, like there's so many things there that it's really easy to get overwhelmed. But like I said, I've always been drawn to candles more so. Actually, I don't think I said that, but candles are my like tool of choice when it comes to, you know, the metaphysical world. Like I like crystals and stuff too, but some people find more power with crystals, and I believe, like, you know, they work too. I have a bunch of crystal bracelets and stuff, but what I like to use more for my manifestation and bringing that to life is the candles. So yeah, that's how I first got acquainted with them. And then in the beginning, I didn't even like write down intentions or really meditate before using the candles, because like I said, people already put prayers, and like House of Intuition employees, when they make the candles, they put their prayers and intentions, and you can read the candle, and like they tell you all about it on the website and stuff. But yeah, so I just, you know, lit the candle, and yeah, like they would still work. But now, as I've become more spiritual, and I, you know, believe in affirmations, and I try to write affirmations every morning, and like my manifestations, what I'm grateful for, all that stuff, I will write something similar before I light the candle. So that's kind of like my ritual. First of all, I sage, and you know, you want to make sure that you have a clear energy space, like remove all negativity, all stagnant, unwanted energy. And then from there, I always say a prayer. Again, I was born and raised Catholic. I believe in God. So I ask, you know, God to be with me and my angels and like just to protect me as I do it. Because again, I believe when you know, start opening up the spiritual doors, like even though I'm not doing spell work and I'm just focusing on my manifestations, it still is an open door. And like, I think the further that you go into that and you try, you know, messing with things or controlling outcomes and stuff like that, then that's when negative things can start, you know, being attracted more to you. But for me, I just, you know, say my prayer, ask my angels to be with me, sage the room, and then I light my candles. And I usually now put like my paper of intentions like under the candles. So that's how I do it before I light my candles. And they have, you know, brought me really positive outcomes a lot. Like depending on which candle you use, different outcomes can happen. But and then so yeah, there's so much I can say about the candles, but that's how I use them. And then I'll go again further with this and say that I never try to force outcomes. Like even House of Intuition has some candles that I think like I personally don't want to use. Like for example, Love Come to Me. They also have a soulmate one. I have used the soulmate one, which is more like for me, when I said that in my intention too, like when the time is right, I would like my soulmate and I, you know, to come together and unite. But keep in mind, it all goes back to manifestations and law of attraction. So if you know about that, I highly suggest you learn a lot about that and how that works before using these candles. Because for example, if you are trying to attract like your soulmate, but you're at a low vibration, one, you could either not, first of all, you probably won't attract the man of your dreams, the guy that you're hoping for. And if you do attract someone to you, like it could be your next boyfriend, whatever, you can attract someone. But if you're at a low vibration, you're going to attract someone from the same vibration. And ultimately, like to get that ideal relationship, you have to be already at that level. So that's just an example. But yeah, like the Love Come to Me one, let's say if you're not at the right frequency or vibration, if you are just trying to attract love, like you could fall in love with a homeless person, you could fall in love with an alcoholic. Like those are just examples I can think of where, you know, just be careful with what you're trying to bring into your life. So I usually do ones like the one I have lit is obstacle remover, and you know, like pretty much to remove negativity, things that are blocking me from getting to my goals and things like that. Another thing, like if you are manifesting, for example, like a certain job, even with that, I try to be like, I think it's important to be specific about certain details that you would like to have in a job, but I don't believe in like trying to manifest a specific job, because what if that job isn't for you? Like you can say, I want this job, but like if you want this exact position or this job offer, what if you're not meant to get that job? And like, for example, I didn't get the job that I was going for in New York earlier this year in January. And now I'm here on this path. So it's like, if I had used a candle to be like, oh, I want this position, I want to get the offer. Like if I had gotten it, I would be in a different spot. The other reason too that I'm not a fan of like spell work and forcing outcomes, that's why I say like manifesting what is meant to be yours. Because if you are manifesting other specific things that are not meant to be yours, or doing spell work where you're, you know, just trying again to force certain things to happen, it's temporary. And it's like, if it does work, what are you going to keep doing spell work for like the rest of your life to keep, you know, forcing that thing to happen? It's just not going to be organic. But yeah, like focusing on yourself, again, things for your highest good, because the universe will bring you what, like one, obviously what is meant for your highest good, but what is ultimately going to fulfill you and bring you inner peace. Because keep in mind, you can manifest this job that's going to be paying you like $180,000 and like you're super successful, but even those, you have to be careful with manifesting that, because you could end up hating your job. Hence what literally I just left, and that is my past now, and I'm trying to create a new beginning, because I ultimately manifested the really great job that I was in. I was really successful, but I was so unhappy. And yeah, I'll have to do a different video on how I manifested like all my jobs like in the past 5 years. So that is what I wanted to reiterate and emphasize, just because doing that, if you are harming, you know, you could be harming someone else, you will attract negativity to you. But if you are trying to force outcomes or control situations, and aka creating on your own without, or creating specific things without co-creating with God and the universe, then you could be causing more harm to yourself in the long run, because like I said, you don't, you know, if it's not meant for you, it is not going to bring you that fulfillment and like that complete fulfillment, inner peace and happiness that you're hoping to get. Only what is meant for you will do that. That's the last thing I'm going to say on that. Now that I've talked enough about how I use intention candles, like how I first got started with them and how to not use intention candles, I will now move into pretty much just pretty much highlighting how powerful candle magic can be, just with a few story examples that I have. But yeah, they are extremely powerful, and that's my whole point of why I'm going to tell these stories. But the first one, like I mentioned, wasn't my own intention candle. It was actually somebody else's candle, and I think this must have been involving spell work. Again, it wasn't mine. This is just what I witnessed. So I literally took place at a psychic. I will not give too much detail around the background story because I'm going to do another video on my psychic experiences. But anyways, point was I was there doing this cleansing, and then he had this altar area where the cleanses were done with a whole bunch of candles. So I literally saw the psychic go put it was somebody's candle that they brought to him, and he lit the candle. He said something I don't even know, that I couldn't understand. And so he had this cigar. He's a shaman, so like I don't know what he was doing, but it was some witchy stuff. And so he lit the candle. The candle was actually similar to my obstacle remover one, and except it was black and green, or green and black. And it's like for reversing if someone has done like any negative witchcraft on you or spell work on you, pretty much trying to cause you like harm. So I saw it literally. It was the scariest and most like just shocking thing I've ever seen. Like, it was straight out of a movie type of thing, because it was just, I didn't even know that shit could happen. But basically, first it started like hissing and crackling. So if you look up different meanings of candle, like candle magic and stuff, there's a lot of different ways to read candles. And this part is important too, just for like intention candles in general. But like, if the wax isn't melted fully, if it's like on one side between it's north, south, and east and west, so like wherever the wax is left, that is something to read. They mean different things. And so, you know, I won't go into detail on like what the different things mean, but just for example, like the front of the candle, if wax is left over, that means that depending on how high up, those are usually like blockages, or if you need to do more work. And if it's on the front, it's in the physical realm, like physical things are blocking you from, you know, blocking the work from being done, that type of thing. And then what else is there? Like how high the flame is, if it makes noises. And then so there's crazier like signals that happen. So what I saw was the craziest things that you could ever see and that are not supposed to happen. So it was an extremely, extremely large flame. I'm not kidding you. It was the highest thing I've ever seen from like just a regular sized candle. And then it was hissing and crackling, like I said, making a lot of noises. And then it started popping, and then I see a whole bunch, like, it sounds like I'm making it up, but I swear I would not make this up. And I had seen black smoke just rise, and black smoke is usually a sign of like negative spirits or negative forces. And so then then the glass breaks, literally like top of the glass breaks. And I remember like I'm watching this, and there's a girl next to me who's also doing like a different cleanse. And again, this candle wasn't mine. I don't even think it was hers. I think it was somebody who wasn't there with us. And so I asked her, I was like, what the hell, like, does that mean? And she was like, oh yeah, that's not a good sign. Like, that means that somebody is trying to like cause harm to that person, or is like really doing a lot of stuff to cause harm to the person. So is doing a lot of negative stuff. And the other thing that I saw, I can't remember, I was just like, I immediately texted my friend after I left, and I was like, oh my God, I just saw something that was totally unbelievable. But the glass broke, and then wax was literally melting like on the outside of it. And it was like, it was green at the top, so it was like green wax. But either way, it was just scary. You could tell something was up, and I was like, oh my God, like this shit is real. Like, I've never seen anything like that in real life. So that was the first story. I know I could have done better with like the details and done it more justice, but the point is just to highlight how crazy that scene was. It was just like absurd. And then, you know, again, it wasn't my own candle. If I had my phone, I totally would have recorded it, but I was literally in the middle of a cleansing when I was watching this. So I was flabbergasted by this experience. Now, the one that is crazy that I have mine, I will just show the footage now.
Or either comes out of something in the upright or in the reverse. Either way, you don't want too much of one or get a commission from the store, and then they share that commission with me.
Okay, so basically the story behind this candle was that one, it was an undressed candle. So what the girl told me was that the undressed candle was not powerful enough for the energy that was going on there. And the reason I had done this candle in the first place, and she was actually like clairvoyant and had some sort of like psychic abilities, but I told her what I was there for, and I was already looking at this candle, which is called a reversible candle, similar to the one that I had saw for someone else's, you know, the crazy story I just mentioned. Same thing. It's to reverse if someone has like basically potentially negative. It doesn't mean like they're doing a whole bunch of harmful things to you, but if negativity has been placed upon you, even with thoughts, sometimes people are like think such strong thoughts that they're actually wishing you harm or like potentially causing you harm. So it could be for something little, and then also for extreme cases like the one that I had mentioned. But basically I was doing it because I was trying to ward off potential negative energy that the guy that I was in love with, like his baby mama, could have been putting on us. So I was just trying to ward off like negative energy, but for me, but it's not like I was trying to like get him back or anything like that. And then so the girl at the shop that helped me get the candle, she was like, they're telling me like, you need this one too. So we were both in sync with the candle I needed. I went and took it home, lit the candle just pretty much with the intention of like warding off any negative energy that had been placed upon me or him. And so then the candle, that is what happened. So basically what I found out afterwards, after I filmed it, I showed it to the girl. I went back to the House of Intuition. She was at House of Intuition. And so when I showed her, she was like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like literally she was blown away too. And she was like, so I guess she was picking up like, I don't know, just some clairvoyancy or like she said like, oh, they're telling me. So I forgot to mention that the candle, when I had lit that, also went out on its own within a few hours, which is another symbol. Like if you look it up, what it means is that basically it can mean like multiple different things. But in my case, I never have candles go out early. Like it's always from, you know, when it says 3 to 7 days. I think the earliest I ever had it done was 2 days, which is a good sign usually that like it's a powerful, you know, intention, or that it's gonna happen, like depending on how it melts. But I've never had a candle go out on its own when it's like still a lot of wax left. That candle went out before I went to sleep, like literally in that same night. So I was just like, oh my God, what does this mean? That's why I was thinking the worst, you know, like, oh my God, like the girl who's putting negative shit towards me is like, you know, like, I don't know, it's gonna happen, it's gonna come true. That's what I automatically was thinking. But like I said, when I took it back to the girl, she told me that her spirits or whatever or maybe it was my spirits, were telling her that the reason that it went out early was actually because it wasn't my energy. She was like, first of all, the candle itself wasn't strong enough to handle that much energy. And if you notice in the video, it kept going. I don't think you could tell as much, but it was going back and forth between 2 flames and then 3 flames. And so when I told her that, she was like, okay, that's indicating her presence between you guys, which is the 3. And then she was like, and then the 2 is you and him. And so I was like, oh my God, this is insane. Like it sounds so crazy and just unreal, but I was like, that kind of, it makes sense. But that's why the flames were so high. There was a lot of energy there for an undressed candle that didn't have any herbs with it and stuff. And then the other thing was that she said the reason that it went out early was because it wasn't my energy that was pretty much like negative. So she was saying that my spirits and her spirits were like fighting in a sense. I know it sounds crazy, but whatever. This is just what she told me, that our spirits were like battling, or like my spirits were trying to battle off the negative energy, but then they realized that that negative energy isn't attached to me. So like, I'm good. She's the one with the negative energy, and just like, I don't think she did anything to harm me. And so, because the girl I think would have been able to pick that up, and maybe she was wishing harmful, like negative energy towards me and him being together. I don't really know. She's probably like still obsessed with him. But yeah, so that's the whole reason of why those flames were so high. And then there was even cracked circles around it. I don't know if you could tell from the footage, but she told me that those were timelines. So I think she said like, I don't remember what specific timeline she told me. I didn't really pay attention to it, but that's why there's circles around it. And then the main thing I was scared about was the reason why I went out. I was like, oh my God, like now I'm just gonna, I don't know what kind of witchcraft she did on me, but now it's like, you know, I was all scared at the time. But yeah, the whole thing was that it wasn't even my energy that the way she explained it made sense. Like my spirits were like, okay, this is her, like some other girl's negative energy. Why the hell are we gonna fight this? Like my spirit guides, they got me. So that was the crazy story with my intention candle. And then the one that I mentioned before that, the whole like, I don't know, witchcraft candle that I had seen. But other than that, most of my candles, I've never had another crazy experience, but I wanted to keep it short. So I'm just gonna, those are the two ones that I wanted to mention. But other than that, the candles that I normally do, like I said, it's normal to see, you know, reading the different flames, like the sizes, how much wax is left over, if they go out on their own. Sometimes that means like, you know, it needs to be redone or like whatever you're asking for, you know, like it's different signals. But I feel like I'm not an expert at reading them either. So I kind of just look it up, like what it means, and then kind of just use my intuition from there. But the whole thing is I don't focus so much on the outcomes. I'm kind of more like, okay, like, you know, again, putting more power into my intentions and trying to manifest what is for me. So that is what I wanted to talk about in this video. You know, in lieu of the Halloween spirit, I thought it was a good time to do this. I'm probably gonna do a few more like spiritual, crazy story videos because I have a lot of experiences. And like I said, Halloween time, it's a really good time to do them, I think. Let me know if you guys have had any similar experiences or plan on using intention candles and have any questions, shoot them my way. But yeah, please use them with caution, responsibility, and good and positive intentions only. So anyways, peace, love, and soul vibes.